Hello, this is Rosa. This is Reharmonization Level 3 course. In Level 3, we're going to start adding minor chords into our chord progression. You're going to learn how to use the D minor, E minor, and A minor to the chord progression in Away in a Manger. The three minor chords in the key of C, they are D minor, E minor, and A minor. So far, we have only used the major chords in level 1, C, F, and G, and also the color chords we added to only the major chords C, F, and G. So now we're going to use the second chord, D minor, the third chord, E minor, and the sixth chord, A minor. When we harmonize the song with major chords, we only have C chord, F chord, and the dominant G7 chord. When I put in minor chord substitutions, my chord chart will look like this. I have added A minor in these three places, E minor in these two places, and D minor here. So how do we decide which minor chord to put in and which minor chord substitute which basic chords? For example, the A minor here substitute the C chord here. The E minor also substitute the C chord. Why does that work? This is the focus of our course in Level 3. We want to understand how minor chords substitute the different basic chords, the C chord, the F chord, and the G7 chord. Take a look at this sample done by my student. She has E minor here, whereas I have A minor here. So why is it that I do A minor here and she does E minor here? So I think you're beginning to see that there's a lot of variety, and we need to follow some rules in music harmony in order to be able to know which minor chord to substitute which major chord, and also how they function in the chord progression. You need to understand some music harmony. For example, the C chord has C tone, E tone, and G tone. It has these three tones. Let's choose A minor. What are the tones of A minor? Here is A minor, A, C, E. Right away, we see that there are two overlaps in the C tone and the E tone between the C chord and the A minor chord. The C chord and the A minor chords, they have two tones in common. And in music theory, we say that A minor can substitute for the C chord because they have two tones in common. This is how you decide which minor chord can substitute which basic chord. Let's choose a D minor chord. First, we put in the C chord, C, E, G tones. For the D minor chord, it has D, F, A. Look, these two chords don't overlap. They don't have any tones in common. So in music theory, we say that D minor cannot substitute for the C chord. This is quite interesting, isn't it? So we'll be studying about these chords in Level 3. Another thing you need to know is how chords tend to move from one to the other. Take a look at this progression. I put in the E minor between the C chord and the G chord. Why is it that the C chord can go to E minor and then go to G? Music theory tells us that when chords move a third up, they sound great. If we look at the piano, we start with the C chord here, E minor is here, 1, 2, 3 is moving a third up. From the E minor chord to the G chord, 1, 2, 3 is also moving a third up. So whenever you move a third up in chords, they always sound great because this is smooth chord movement. Let's try this one. I put an A minor in between the C and F chord. Why does this work? Because the chords are moving a third down. Let's take a look at the piano. We start at the C chord here. We move down to the A minor. It's going down 1, 2, 3. And then to the F chord, 1, 2, 3. So this is smooth chord movement, and it sounds great when you do this. How about half step up? Can you think of chords going half step up? How about the E minor chord here, going to the F chord? This is half a step. So sometimes in chord progression, you see this E minor going to F. These are the things you need to understand when you do chord substitution. So in this course, I'm going to show you 3 quick steps to do the chord substitution. Step 1, you're going to substitute the G7 chord first when you look at the basic chord chart. You'll take your summary chart out, and you're going to see how you can substitute the G7 chord. And then in step 2, you will substitute the C chord. You take out your chart. You also take out the smooth chord movement that I will teach you. And you see that there are many C's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're going to go to the piano to listen to some of these sounds. And we're going to start subbing some of these C chords with either A minor or E minor. And you don't need to substitute all of the C chords. And then I go to step 3. And we're going to substitute the F chord. We take out the summary chart. We take out the smooth chord movement to remind us how chords tend to move one to the other. And we are going to go to the piano to listen to the sounds. And then I will do some of these subbing. After listening to the sounds, this is my final chord chart. Listen to how beautiful it sounds when you start adding the minor chords into your song. It gives the song a different flavor. The minor chords have a sad, nostalgic sound, and it will create more feelings to your song.
C, A minor, F, E minor, D minor, G7, A minor, C, E minor, A minor, F, C, D minor, G7, D minor, G7, C.